Hello, you wonderful soul. Are you often tired and exhausted and maybe don't know where it comes from? Or perhaps you're wondering if everything is all right with you. Just like you, many people are currently experiencing this. I will discuss the enormous impact of external energies, the different types that exist, and most importantly, how you can deal with them. It's a very exciting topic. Stay tuned. Ralph Riedel. I've been on the shamanic path for 20 years, initiated in the tradition of the Incas and Blackfoot. What exactly are external energies? External energies are not fundamentally bad. They are simply energies that affect us from the outside, meaning they do not originate from us and can influence our system and ourselves in either a positive or negative way. These are generally external energies. We are also affected by cosmic ascension energies, and that's why our bodies must adapt and restructure, which can lead to fatigue and exhaustion. However, I don't want to focus on that today. We are now delving into external energies where we can also have an influence. Yes, and the key lies in recognizing for yourself which of these energies are beneficial to you and which are not, meaning those that drain your energy, and then activating more of what is beneficial to you in your life. Let's start with what is clearly and unmistakably obvious when someone thinks about external energy. So the first impulse that comes to mind is, of course, the direct influences we are exposed to. And one of the main influences we cannot undeniably escape is the cell phone, the internet, and inevitably and undoubtedly social media, news, and so on. That means if we consume too much of it, I don't need to be a shaman to know what happens. Then it pulls you away from yourself, your attention drifts away from you, and you lose yourself in a virtual world where maybe an hour or two later you ask yourself, where did the time go? And then you wonder why you have too little energy and time available for yourself. And you can also definitely carefully observe how you feel before you even start fiddling with social media or your phone for a long time, and then maybe after an hour or two, depending on how long exactly it is that you spend there, how much energy it has costed or drained from yourself. That really drains a lot of energy from you. And the next thing is that we definitely surround ourselves with too much negativity from external energies indeed. Negativity can be fear-inducing news, such as, to name a few, inflation, war, environmental disasters, and so on and so forth. And I completely understand that it is there, but we also need to learn to acknowledge it without constantly confronting it and getting lost in it. Because what happens then is that it lowers our vibration and costs us a tremendous amount of energy. We can acknowledge it, but we shouldn't constantly focus on it. This is my input at this point. The second category is that we are naturally also surrounded by our immediate environment. So here specifically from individuals and groups of people and communities. These can be, for example, companies, clubs, or other associations. And it may be that if your values and orientation no longer or currently do not align with a certain group or certain people, it can be very mentally, emotionally, and physically tiring, exhausting, and draining for you to even be in the presence of this group or these people, leading to significant stress and discomfort. And then you can simply and honestly ask yourself the important question, when you are with people or groups of people, how you feel before and how you genuinely feel afterwards. And then you definitely have an answer, whether they are good for you when you feel inside yourself or not. And then when you go even deeper, it is also important to make a conscious decision about what you need to do to keep your energy more within yourself. Either reduce contact to a minimum in your interactions with others in your daily life, or learn to set boundaries radically. And here I would like to give an example. Maybe you know this from your own environment, that there are people who only think in terms of problems and constantly complain. And when you really talk to people, you actually really notice how your energy is being absorbed more and more. And these people always want you to always have an open ear for them. And then you might even give really, really constructive advice, but you feel like it all goes nowhere. Everything gets sucked up like a black hole. Like a sponge, everything is indeed absorbed, and afterwards, you simply have much, much less energy. And at the end of the conversation, you find yourself right back at the beginning, only now you're exhausted and wondering why you spent so much time talking to these people. Such people are also known as energy vampires. And these people cannot and do not want to change in any way whatsoever. They are used to only wanting attention and absorbing everything without really being aware of it at all. Often, after you've gone through this a few times, you can keep asking yourself if you want to give this person your energy. And if so, then perhaps only to a limited extent, or even to say radically, I am no longer available for this conversation. You can apply this to other people as well, not just in this example, but the idea is to learn how to keep your energy to yourself so that you don't get drained. And here I would like to address a specific point that I have observed over the years, including in myself at the beginning, that we live in a society where constant high performance is demanded. And if you then basically play along with this game, your system has been geared towards overload for a long time, and that seems completely normal to you. And then precisely that happens, you completely lose a sense of your own center, and the pressure from outside is absolutely enormous. And then, to resist this pressure effectively and successfully, stay true to yourself and find out what truly benefits you clearly and precisely, and where your specific boundaries lie. This is the first big step. And then learn to set boundaries radically when something is really too much for you. And I want to give you an image to go along with this. Imagine you just keep going. Yes, just keep going. Then your system will inevitably reach a point where you are completely, truly, and utterly exhausted, completely, truly, and utterly sick, and nothing works anymore. And many individuals only give themselves permission at this specific point in time to step back, to withdraw, and to slow down their pace somewhat. And now just be aware, you can either let it get to that point until you really can't do anything else, or even beforehand, to draw the consequences where you might be able to react better, where everyone can react better, because it will inevitably continue in this direction if nothing changes. And that's something I always reminded myself of in my professional life when I was employed, and I regularly set boundaries because I realized that otherwise something bigger would happen. Yes, indeed, to truly and permanently free yourself from these burdensome and external energies, and to align your life in a truly lasting and positive way, I would like to invite you to dive deeper with me. And in order to better understand this now, I see two categories of external energies more clearly and distinctly. And the first category is the direct external influences: people, media, cosmic effects. So everything that comes at us from the outside. The second category indeed consists of external energies that we already carry within us, where we believe they are our own. Yes, and indeed, these are truly the beliefs and ideas of others that we have carried within us for so long and adopted into our system that we now believe they are, in fact, our own. And then it can happen that they drain a significant amount of our energy without us even realizing it. Yes, because we are essentially driving with the handbrake on and we don't know any different, since we've been driving around with this handbrake on our whole lives, in fact, always. And connected to that, we also have behaviors that we carry within us, where we do not allow ourselves to show our true selves. And over time, over the years, and even over the course of decades, it drains more and more of our energy because we are always driving around with the handbrake on. And then you can imagine, similar to a car, the engine running at full throttle while we break at the same time, how much energy that costs you. And unfortunately, the worst part is that we continue to accumulate and store heavy energy in our bodies. That means pent-up emotions such as feelings of anger, sadness, helplessness, or even shame, such as being ashamed of who you really are, for example, and more. This is, of course, unconscious for us in various ways and can then become a driving force or motivation for us in our lives to prove that we are good enough, valuable, loved, recognized, and so on in different contexts and situations. So how do we manage to protect ourselves effectively and safely from these external energies without them draining too much of our energy? First of all, we consciously and deliberately avoid all external influences that are not beneficial for us and drain our energy, and we must also learn to set radical boundaries. For example, by saying, I am no longer available for this conversation. And in the second step, I want to give you an image. Imagine that your body and your energy system are just like a house. However, all of the windows and doors are indeed consistently unlocked and wide open, so anyone can actually come in and go out as they please. And it may be that by now you have various uninvited guests in your own house who want to arrange your home according to their own ideas, and perhaps have already done so to some extent, perhaps even more than you realize. And because they definitely live in your house, they also absolutely want to live by their own rules in your own house. Be aware of this. It corresponds exactly to those beliefs that we carry within us without realizing it, which we have had in our own house for a long time. And now it's about taking a closer look at your own house and cleaning out or letting go of everything that no longer serves you and setting clear boundaries so that you can gradually arrange your house according to your own ideas and feel comfortable at home, finally feeling like you've arrived home. And that's exactly what it's about, that you have finally arrived within yourself, that you can finally be who you truly are and show it completely to the outside world. And of course, this image is very symbolic of our current situation, but it can really help you figure out exactly what you are carrying within yourself and what others may have convinced you of and what you haven't lived so far because you have been living according to others' expectations. And now you can give yourself permission to absolutely free yourself from all the clutter that has accumulated in your house over the years, and give yourself that permission. You will indeed definitely not get permission from the people or the energies that have already taken over your house. To that, I would definitely say you need to have the courage to be the caretaker in your own house. Imagine this picture clearly and vividly. You now take full and complete responsibility and become the diligent caretaker of your own house. The whole thing is naturally a process and also takes time, where you can gradually and steadily free yourself from these accumulated heavy emotions and energies, and then develop your own new rules and ideas. Step by step, you can start living by them, implementing them, and, if necessary and appropriate, setting firm boundaries, or even fighting for them, persistently and consistently with determination. Because it might also be that you first need to learn to stand up for yourself, to find out who you truly are, which house you want to live in, and which house you actually want to own. For many, this is indeed also the first step to then take the next step, definitely setting it up according to your own values and your own ideas. And then abundance will become increasingly noticeable in your life, and external energies will have almost no chance anymore. Because when you are your own caretaker, you have also learned to close windows and doors, to set clear boundaries, to protect yourself from external influences, and to maintain clarity within yourself. You learn to keep yourself clean and not let too much from the outside into your house, This is how it works, so that you can ultimately lead a life where you have sufficient energy left for yourself and you learn to truly and effectively stand up for yourself confidently. Many people struggle with too little energy. Almost everyone has too little energy, and it is due to these components that I just mentioned. And that is the foundation for us to first learn to implement exactly that in life. And in life, of course, there are occasional confrontations and resistance when you try to keep your energy to yourself. And that is indeed extremely important in order to gradually make your vision and abundance in life truly, really more and more a reality. But if you're not used to paying attention to your own energy in any way, then the rest won't work at all either. Those were my thoughts on this topic. And if you liked this video, feel free to share it with others or pass it along. And if you want more insights or a glimpse into my daily routines, just follow me on Instagram. The link is in the description below. See you next time. Bye. Ciao. Goodbye.